All right, everybody out there, welcome in. Thanks a lot for tuning in on this Friday night. We got a heck of a show lined up for you tonight. As always, going to be a good time. We got a special guest coming on with us. Got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. Going to be a good time. Thanks for being here, each and every one of you. As always, we've got with us our philanthropist lady who only comes on here to brag about how good she is about everything. How you doing tonight there, Gutters Pub?
I'm just over here being good.
Lies. Well, thanks for being here. The Mouth of Houston joining us again tonight. How you doing there, LW?
Happy Friday, everybody. Looking forward to tonight's guest, and hope everybody watching and in the chat enjoys it as well.
And there we go. And we got our token mad scientist out there shocking the world as fast as he shocks himself. How you doing it tonight there, Old Man Builds?
I'm doing great, man. Looking forward to a great show.
All right. Me too, and our country music recording sensation, KJ, joining back in with us. Thanks for being here.
What up, guys? Happy Friday. Woo-woo. I'm excited about the show tonight.
There we go. And we got Mr. Producer in the back doing all kinds of cool things, helping us keep us together. Thanks for being here, Mr. Producer. Joining us tonight, we got Alan K. Alan's got a lot to talk about. How you doing tonight there, Alan? Not hearing you there, Alan. But anyway, yeah, we'll get that fixed when we jump back in. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I do see a lot of really nice faces already coming in. We got Dozer in here, Multi coming in here. Good to see you guys. Who else we got? No Bits. What's up, No Bits? We got the Guild. Good to see you, the Guild. Dispatch Center in here. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Matt Dummett, good to see you, Matt Dummett. Just trying to get to these. We're way backed up on comments. We do thank everybody for being here, no matter if you're watching. This is going out live over here on Traveling Fools. It's going live on my X as well. We're live on Gutters Pub. We are live on Old Man Builds, a few channels. Let's see, we're live on LWs. This is going out everywhere, no matter where you're watching from. We thank you for being here.
Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in?
And you won't be angry?
I will not be angry.
Abby someone.
Abby someone. Abby who?
Abby normal.
Abby normal.
Listening to the ASN Podcast Network.
All right, everybody out there, thanks again for being here. Please make sure, no matter where you're watching on, that you do hit that thumbs up button. It does help these streams get out to other people. So, without further delay, we've got a great guest here lined up with us tonight. Alan K. Alan was, season 1 winner of the show alone. How you doing tonight, Alan?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Doing good. I'm sure, as everybody on here has, probably a million questions for you. I think, I'm sure most people listening know what the show was, but you want to kind of give people a recap what the basis, the premise of it was?
Sure. Yeah. So at season 1, there were 10 contestants. On season 1, it was all men. And we were dropped off in an area of British Columbia. And we had to self-document our survival experience. We had a Pelican case full of camera gear, along with 10 items that we could select from an approved list, and last man standing kind of thing. It wasn't like Hunger Games, when somebody dies, they see their face in the sky. So you had no idea, if everybody was still out there or 2 people were still out there as they left for one reason or another. And after 56 days, they came and said, okay, you're the last one. So that's it.
Awesome.
Now, how was that feeling when they walked up and they were like, knocking on your hut or whatever, and being like, hey, you're the last one? Were you like, oh my God, thank God? Or
actually shocked. In my mind, I thought there were still several guys still out there, and I couldn't believe it was over at that point. So it was like momentary shock. And then, I was like, well, okay.
How much longer do you think you had left in you?
Well, I would have been there a while. I don't really know. You're so in the moment and that kind of life, day by. And I never thought of it about winning or losing any of that. It was just live in the moment, be in the moment, test myself, experience this process, and that was it. And that way of thinking actually worked pretty well. Because if you try to look at the whole thing, you'll get overwhelmed. So you have immediately in front of you, what's this next task you have to do, and stay very focused and in the moment, or else you'll spin yourself out mentally.
Right.
So what did they do? Like, so here's like my first, I mean, I guess we got to kind of start at the beginning. So
Yeah.
what did you have to do? You had to put in like videos where like, how did you enter yourself into the contest?
I actually didn't. They contacted me. I had a friend who also was a contestant on season 1, and he was in talks with them, and we were at an event together. And back then I taught survival a lot. Like, I taught a lot of classes, and he said, I got the guy you should talk to right here. And so he gave them my contact information, and after we got back home, they sent an email, and I responded, and then they mailed a camera to me and said, go in the woods and film yourself doing things. And I did that. And then you have a couple more interviews, and then they selected, like, I think it was 20 people to go to a boot camp, and it lasted about long. And then they want to, get a good look at you and make sure you're actually legit, so you don't go out there and die or do something stupid.
Right.
And then out of that, they select the final contestants, and then like 2 alternates get selected out of that process.
So then what did they do? So they gave you like, how many, you were allowed a certain amount of items like that you could take. Now, was that from like a pre-made list? Like they gave you 30 things and said you can pick 8, I think it was, or something?
It was 10. Yeah, they got a list, and you can have only off of the list they give you 10, and you have to go buy your own stuff and source your own stuff. They don't provide any of that for you. And there's certain things you cannot have. Obviously you couldn't have firearm, can't have water filtration, you couldn't have a compass or anything to navigate with, because they want you to actually do those tasks in a primitive, and so they limit what you have available to you.
And what did you pick? I mean, like,
I think back, let's see, I took an axe, I took a saw, I took a kukri knife, of course, that would have been my first pick. So yeah, three cutting implements, because I'm up there in virgin territory. Like, there were trees 800 years old, and you didn't really know what you're I know it's wet there a lot, but so I'm thinking I'm going to process a lot of wood and probably build things. So 3 of my items were cutting tools, and then 2 of my items were vessels. I took a 2-quart pot and like a 40 or a 64 ounce stainless steel water bottle, because a metal vessel is something pretty hard to create in the bush. And so that's 5 of my 10 just for cutting in containers. Then let's say I took snare wire, I took fish hooks and line, the other 3, a gill net, which was one of the best things I did ever in my life, best decisions I ever made. And I took a ferrocerium rod, because I didn't want to be rubbing sticks every day for fire, Even though I'm pretty good at that, I just didn't want to do it. Plus, if you get injured, it's hard to do one-handed, so I'm a worst-case scenario guy. So I decided to not rely on friction fire. And what was the last item? I don't even know. Can't think.
Obviously not something you needed as much as the rest.
Sleeping bag, and I took one that was like ridiculously not enough for that area.
Right.
What was that?
It was not enough for that area, but I made it work.
A sleeping bag, Gutters.
Oh,
Yeah, sleeping bag. So what? So I mean, I remember watching this, but it was such a long time trying to remember what was the season. Not as far as like the episode season, but like this, fall, winter, spring.
Yeah,
what was the season?
Late fall, going into winter when they drop you. That's part of the challenge, because it's not like you're going to be,
You're like, it's sunning.
Right out there on the beach.
Yeah.
So what did so they basically, it was British Columbia, right? Like, it was just kind of like the woods in British Columbia.
Well, it was really neat. We were actually on a native First Nations people's land up there called the Quatsino tribe. They're just a beautiful people. I really enjoyed meeting them and learning about their history. We had to take classes so that we could recognize things and not disturb them, because we were in uncut timber, and there's burial grounds out there and different things. So we wanted to make sure we were aware of that, And so there's quite a bit of schooling you have to do just in regards to that before they let you go out there.
And then, I mean, so you were pretty much, I mean, was it all like, I guess, kind of like a comparison to National Forest here? Is that kind of the same premise, or?
Yeah, I don't know how you could even describe that to anything I've seen here in the States. Like some of the trees, I've never seen trees like that. There again, this is like, it's never been cut. Some of these areas that we were in, I mean, it was wild. Huge trees and sword ferns that look like Jurassic Park, I guess, if I could liken it to anything.
Right.
Everything was bigger there. Even the bears, you know, we have bears here, but it takes 2 of ours to make one of theirs, you know, the black.
Right. Well, that's an interesting question here. We got a question here in the chat from Jack here. It says, my dad has a question, blah, blah, blah. Were you more worried about animal presence at night at the beginning or towards the end of the island? I mean,
Question.
Yeah, I didn't really have that much of a concern. I mean, obviously you're aware that there are cougars out there, like, and bears. So I took a lot of pains as far as how I handled and prepared my food, but you know, I had a good shelter. I understand animal behavior pretty well, so I never really felt threatened. And I personally never had any encounters that made me feel threatened. A couple guys did, for sure. One guy had a wolf issue, like my buddy. He had some wolves. And then I think Lane actually got charged by a bear. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and then the one guy had that I had seen, he actually had like 3 bears that came and rubbed up against his tent, and he called and said, "Okay, I'm ready to come out. Take me now." And that was the first
Dunzo.
night he was done, man.
No
He-
way.
He was a cop. He was a cop too. He was like, "No way. I got babies at home. I'm going home. I am not going to be food. I'll go up against a lot of things, but not bears," he said.
Yeah,
Oh my
they got them up there. I had one near me, but we saw each other, and it was never a problem or threat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems
I
like that would be a problem if on day one a bear has already scoped you out and is at your tent. He's probably coming back a lot. Yeah. That
Yeah,
would be terrifying.
yeah, and I mean, you see bear sign everywhere up there. As I'm thinking about where to build my shelter, you're seeing it, so you're like, well, I got to sleep somewhere. So you just go.
So
for
you
it.
had what? Okay, so then they take you up there. I guess they flew everybody individually out in a plane and just landed in
The insertion method was different for each guy depending upon like where he was, distance wise and other terrain feature factors, I guess, topography there. So I went in on a helicopter. Some guys went in on a float plane, other guys went in on a boat. So I think there were probably 3 or 4 different methods they used. For me, it was helicopter though.
So then they just basically dropped you off, threw your bag out, said, "Here's your stuff." And what they do, they give you like a radio or a flare, or I mean, like how did that? How were you supposed to communicate?
There's like a week or 2 beforehand where you're training up for this thing, and they're showing you how to film and work these cameras and stuff, which was always challenging for me because I can barely run my cell phone even now. And by like day 3, I was ready to pitch all that in the ocean anyway. I was so over. But yeah, they give you some, you get a little basic first aid class. They give you a little first aid kit with a tourniquet. They had like a sat phone that you could only use for emergencies. Like, "Hey, I've been mauled, come get me." And they were really strict about that. Like, if you call us and we help you, you're done. Like, so don't use this unless you really, really have to. I think it's changed a lot now, but season 1 was pretty standoffish. They were just like, go out there and don't bother us. Which I enjoyed that part.
Now, did they check up on you at all, or I mean, was there like
Not like they do now. My understanding now is they have like weekly med checks, which to me would ruin the experience, because then you got somebody coming in and pulling you out of that space you get into. They were very hands off with us, but I mean, it's changed a bunch since then. I think they probably looked at the first season and they were like, "Ooh, we should up our game and maybe put some medical QRF near these guys." And I think they're doing a better job of that now. But
Some safety Sally's got to work.
So there's no law.
Okay, you can't do this and you can't do
right.
that.
Yeah, I think some lawyers might have done a little preventative.
But it's well-founded concern because you are really out there. I mean, that's
Yeah.
Right.
like as we were flying out, I was just looking at it going, wow, I don't see anything. Like I just didn't see anything. It was just wild. And then he kind of banks, and we go into this little cove, and they're like, "There you are. Good luck."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, what did you have any second thoughts flying out there? I mean, did that hit you at all? Like, oh shit, what am I getting myself into? Or
At that moment, I was studying the terrain. I was like trying to map everything mentally, trying to be like, okay, this is what's around me. Like I was looking for anything, which, like I say, it was just all green mostly. And that's what I was thinking on the flight out. I was just like really locked in studying the terrain. Did me no good at all by the time. and I think they do that on purpose. They were hugging the trees pretty tight, trying not to get eye view. I think he even took some evasive action to kind of get me a little disoriented, But I was already disoriented because, I'm from North Georgia mountains, and those mountains are way different. And like I didn't even. I thought what I got dropped off on was a river, and then I went in the woods to do my initial scout. And when I came back, it had shrunk, and I was like, "Oh, that's got a tide to it. That's probably salt water." I mean, that's how kind of out of my element I was initially, trying to figure it all out. But it worked out. It's a beautiful spot up there.
Mm-hmm.
so, what was the like when they dropped you off? Like, what was the temperature? I mean, like roughly. I mean, what would you say?
I don't know. It wasn't cold. Wasn't cold at all. It had just rained. Imagine that, British Columbia rains like in feet up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually they do measure it in feet. Like annually, they receive like 14 feet of rainfall in that area where we were. It's like living in a car wash. It was unreal. Every day.
That's why everything's so big.
Yeah.
Well,
like fools, it's been such a while since I've seen it, but your shelter. I mean, I'm assuming as soon as you drop your bags, that's the first thing you're doing, right? After you're scouted out, is get that shelter going, huh?
That's one of the tasks you start thinking about, but not on day one. So, like by the time we get out there, it's like the first thing I need to do is I need to scout things out. And so I walked in the 4 directions, and did a pace count like every time. So your left foot hits the ground, you kind of keep track of that to know how far you went. And you do an about face, and you come back the same way. Because there again, we don't have any compass or map, so you just have to kind of self-map in your head and using your body to measure it. But I was just scouting initially, so I went and thought, wow, these woods are almost impossible to walk through. That's the first thing I learned. Like these ancient laying on their side are 10 feet tall, because they're that wide. It's amazing. Like you can't see through them and get over them. And there's this stuff called salal and sword fern that are just everywhere. It's just, so I'm like, yeah, the woods, not so much. And I realized that my food would probably come from the ocean or the intertidal zone where, the area between high and low tide. And so having made that decision, I located fresh water, which is priority one, because those decisions then told me where I'm going to put my shelter, which was just above the height that I could see and access where I'm going to get my food. And I'm also close enough to my water that I can access it regularly, but not so close that I'm going to contaminate it or be having other issues from the other things that are coming to that water source that I had. It was a very limited water source. It was just like basically a seep, and it was at high tide, it was brackish. At low tide is when I had to get my water, because that's when it was pure coming out of there. But also had all these leaves in it, so it was like nearly black from all the tannins and the tannic acid that leaches out of the leaves and things. So not the best water, but it worked. It worked just fine.
So we got Johnny Utah coming in here on $5 super chat there. Thanks, Johnny. He says, did producers deliberately sabotage things for drama on purpose? Was there any of that or no?
No, it was very much hey, here's the parameters and go do your thing. So no, they didn't monkey with it at all.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much your own director, right?
Well, that's the whole point. Like,
yeah,
being alone, that psychological isolation, and the fact that you're walking around like this, holding a camera, filming yourself while you're trying to do something, that gives it that authenticity and that edge that the show was known for. I mean, they do school you some on how to use the cameras, but you're still basically an amateur, and you're tired and all that. So,
and I mean, and now they kind of see things a little more. Like I noticed now they were saying, or do they still film? Do they still do Alone, the show? I haven't watched any new. Okay, well, I seen where they had said now they go like 39 days, and then they start checking up on them like every 3 to 4 days or something to that effect. Because after those, like the 39th day or whatever, that's when, their health is getting worse. They're, because they obviously they start losing weight. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know the details. Like I say, I've been very much out of the loop with all that. I know
Yeah.
people have done the show since then. I actually know somebody that has done this last season, but as far as details, I really don't get into it. They're not really allowed to talk about it, so I don't ask. And
Right.
it's going to change. It's constantly evolving, and I think that's what happens with this too. Like every season, they tweak it a little bit, to make it.
So was there a weigh in? Like when you landed, and they you took off, did they weigh you before you left?
Had a physical, so that would have been when I got weighed. But yeah, they didn't weigh us. I don't recall that like the day before or anything.
Well, okay. So my curiosity with that is like, what did you weigh when they dropped you off, and then what did you weigh when they picked you up?
I weighed on the airport scales when we were leaving from up there, and I was like 195 or something like that. There again, I don't recall the exact bits of it. But yeah, I had dropped a significant amount of weight because you go from a modern American diet to seaweed and limpets and mussels, and you're going to lean up with the, it's going to happen. I think in total I lost like 65 pounds, but I went in pretty.
Holy crap!
Wow.
I think I went in pretty. Though honestly, I started subconsciously just stuffing everything down my neck. When the closer it got,
Yeah, that's true.
like just eating Snicker bars. And just like I think on a subconscious level, you're like, man, you don't know when you're going to eat again. You better put it in. So I plugged up a little.
So what was the nastiest thing that you had to put down?
The nastiest thing I had to eat?
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's not what people would think. It was some fish up there that, two instances. Like it was near the end of the salmon run, and so you kind of you see one or two that are just like their eyes hanging out and pieces falling off. but bad. You're probably edible, and I scarfed that down. It wasn't amazing, but I didn't get sick from it. So I guess that fish, it was just suboptimal, like half dying rotten fish, but that wasn't that bad.
The one thing that I took away from watching the parts that I watched, because I didn't sit down and watch the whole season, but I watched pieces of it from YouTube, and I think one of the things that probably won you the whole thing was that you never looked too far forward, that you just kind of stayed within what you needed for that time, and you didn't build like big fires, because that meant you burned energy by going to get the wood and so on and so forth. So it was it was more about only doing what you needed to do for the moment, and it was never more. You didn't think about tomorrow or even it was just about right then what was going to go on. So
that's exactly right. That's the mindset that gets you through that, is very much being in the present moment, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're on food, I did have, obviously we can't play a bunch of video from the show, but I did have this one clip. So let's play this really fast since we're on the food.
Oh yeah, let's play this, and then I got a question for you.
I found a slug.
Oh. It's pretty good size there.
I normally wouldn't prepare food at camp, but I figure it's not going to put up a whole lot of scent.
I'm going to boil him first to get all the slime out, and then I'll probably chop him up and sizzle him on there for a minute.
I don't know how it'll taste, but we'll find out.
Now, let me hit pause right here. So at this point, how hungry were you? Like was this day 4 or was this day 40?
I don't recall what day that was, but I recall what was going on. So the tide fluctuations up there are pretty severe, and that determines when you eat. Like low tide was time to go out there and eat, and there really wasn't much happening with my traps or my gill net at that point, and it had rained a lot. And there were times where slugs were everywhere you look, and other times they kind of went away. And so this was a lull in my other food sources, but it was a time when the slugs were popping out. And so I had a water bottle that had washed up on shore, and I took that water bottle and walked around just collecting slugs, and I would keep them in that thing to keep them alive. So when I'm cooking this one, I actually had more of them, but I was holding them in reserve, kind of experimenting with methods of how to best cook them and all of that. And I ended up eating quite a bit of those guys, but I didn't film all of them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here we go.
Do now, just if I can, take him out of there. Move him over to my improvised cutting board. De-slime the little fella. Ooh, he's hot. Oh, wow. That's kind of gross. First we saute the slug in a brown gravy
This was hilarious.
and all manner of excrements and foul whatevers will come emanating from the snail. Yeah. Don't let this bother you, because we would simply add more wine.
What's her name?
Julia.
Yeah, good rolling ball. Kill any of the little strange happenings in there. Yeah, no doubt about it. It's exactly as you would expect. Kind of taste a little bit shrimp.
Oh.
Didn't expect that.
And
No,
something
I
else.
didn't.
And something else.
I didn't expect shrimp.
Yeah, I want to know what the something else was.
So here's. I wondered if it tasted like a banana, because I know they look like a banana. That's the whole reason they call them a banana slug. But
no fruit flavor to be found. But the broth was kind of like a little hint of like reminiscent of beef bouillon, just a little. Maybe I was just smelling it myself. This is beef, because a lot of that's how you set your mind. Like,
right.
Sure.
We've all experienced this, right? You go for a drink that's sitting there next to the chair, whatever, and you thought it was like sweet tea, but it was Dr. Pepper, right? And as soon as your taste buds hit that, there's this shock you went into because you had set for sweet tea and that didn't come. And so I think I did that with food a lot. I would kind of psych myself out and be like, all right.
So
Makes sense.
Since you are you do survival stuff. One of the things that my kids were taught in outdoor school was the Indians used slugs if they had a toothache. They would use the slime of the slug because it would numb the area.
So one concern about that, I can't say the name. It's one of those this long words, starts with, but there's a parasite that lives in the slug, right?
Oh.
So the reason I was so adamant about cooking them and watching the boil, because we don't have a way to quantify temperature out there. So that boil is a visual reference of what temperature I'm at, so I can kind of make sure I'm killing those things in there. So like it's rat worm, like the slug will feed. I think the life cycle is they feed on like rat feces or ingest that somehow, and then the human ingests the slug if it's not cooked, and then you get rat lungworm that can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You guys read up on it, but yeah, there's definitely, you want to cook, and I think it's important that we say that too, because there probably other people, like, you definitely want to cook that slug, really anything like that, slug, snail, crickets, all those kind of slow moving proteins. I just like to err on the side of caution and cook them, because there's some potential downsides that can happen.
So since leaving British Columbia, how many slugs have you eaten?
0. 0. Now, I have eaten other insects. I just haven't had the occasion to. I've eaten a lot of wood ants since then. I've eaten crickets. I've eaten worms, but I haven't come across any slugs. Now, almost when I see them, I just laugh. It's like,
wait a second. Wait. Go. Rewind. You've eaten wood ants since?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Why?
teaching that. That's yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
just
do
making
you still do that class that
Wow.
you used to do? The group that you used to have, it was called something. What was it called? Eco Survival Group.
That was somebody else's that I was helping out with as
I
just
see.
many instructors, and no, that's morphed into something else. I think the guy that actually did that went on to do Mountain Man. He moved to Wyoming and got onto that show, and
Mhm.
I haven't talked to him in a while. And one of the other guys fell and broke his back, and yeah, time goes on. And
I bet.
I remember Mountain Man. Is that still on?
I don't know. I never watched that one.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. So what was the? So I saw on something like you were eating tree bark and stuff like that. How did you? I mean, what kind of tree bark can you eat? Any and all, or?
Ones like the one here locally is the inner bark of the white pine is just super amazing for so many reasons. It's just got a lot of nutrients in it that are good, plus medicinal uses. The white pine is an amazing tree. There's others that you can eat, but if you saw me eating bark on a video, it's probably white pine bark.
I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did too. That's what I was wondering what kind that was. I mean, were the trees there? I mean, I've never been to British Columbia. I mean, is it comparable to the same, forest here, or is it completely different?
It's totally different. Huge cedar trees and just stuff that doesn't grow here. That's one thing that made it such a test is I didn't know anything about that terrain, the flora and the fauna there. And I've studied up on it since then. I learned a lot of things that would have been nice to know while I was out there. But yeah, it was a true test in that regard because I'm just not familiar with any of that stuff.
I mean, did they tell you ahead of time where you were going, or were they just like, we're just going to randomly take you somewhere? Or did you know we're going to British Columbia?
I mean, you didn't know immediately, but at some point they did disclose, hey, it's going to be in the Pacific Northwest, and we'll give you more details. And then obviously you just start, looking up stuff and kind of think. But even then, you don't really know, where specifically they're going to drop you, and there's just so many unknowns. So it basically is just thought processes and like how you problem solve, and that was the test to see if the way that I do things would work in an environment that I'd never been to, and it worked, like passive food collection. I'm not actively trying to hunt. Now, some of the places they put people since then, you absolutely should hunt. I would have taken a bow to those locations, but I didn't choose a bow for British Columbia because I just didn't think, and rightly so. I mean, afterward, I think back in my mind, if everything had lined up and I had a bow and made the shot, made the kill, it didn't get away and I didn't lose it, I might have had like 4 meals, none of them more substantial than a goose. So not enough to make or break the experience, and like I say, passive food collection, trapping, that's a lot of what I did. That's basically all I did, that and foraging.
And okay, so when you say trapping, what were you like? You had to build your own traps, I'm assuming. So what were we going after?
Snares, which didn't yield much. Honestly, the thing that paid off the most for me, other than netting things, was the bottle traps that I made, where you just take a water bottle, which sadly you can find them everywhere. They litter the planet, and they wash up there. And so I would cut the neck off of it and put the cone back inside, and you create a little fish trap that way. And I would put a bunch of them out in the tidal pools and weight them down with rocks. And then the tide would come in, and crabs and fish and even little tiny eels, we'd find them in there. They would just, every time it would just be nearly full. And so I would boil them.
Wow.
Their
That's really smart.
And
wow.
Like bull kelp and bladderwrack and different seaweeds would wash up. And there was one place where I found some mussels, but it was way out there and you really didn't get it except at the lowest of tides. And even then you're, shoulder deep into the water trying to get at them. So I ate mussels, a handful of times, and they were amazing. But the bladderwrack was kind of my mainstay. That seaweed was one of the chief parts of my diet. I try to get from the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom so you get that balance, and so the bladderwrack was probably my main plant, that and the bull kelp. I would eat a lot of that. And then limpets, little guys that just cling to the rock. You can get those.
Mhm.
And them raw. You don't have to cook them. Kind of like nature's fast food. So I relied on those pretty heavily. A lot of crabs I caught in my net. A lot of fish. One duck that I ate, and not amazing. He was really tough. I was more excited about it. And then when I actually ate the thing, I was like, yeah, it's a meal. You know.
So let's take it back to the beginning. So like when you got there, what was the first thing you did? Shelter?
No, first thing I did, I dropped my pack and I did a pace count and I walked in 4 different directions to kind of scout the land and look for resources, because a shelter, the decision to build a shelter has to kind of stand on the shoulders of a lot of other research that you do. Like, where's the water? That's really the first thing. Where am I getting fresh drinking water from? Because that's a place I want to be close to, not too close. I want to put my shelter right on top of it, but I'd like to be, a short distance from it, 50 yards, whatever, 100 yards. Not too far away, but also not too close. And once I identify that, then I look around. I'm like, where am my food likely to come from? Is it coming from the woods? Am I going to run trap lines? And in this case, it was intertidal zone. And so I was like, okay, water plus food resources equals shelter location. So I put it just in the high tide line where I can see at low tide, because that's kind of my clock and my calendar out there is what the tide's doing. And so I wanted to see it, but also be high enough away that in a storm or if the sea got gnarly, it wouldn't walk up, just wash up and destroy my shelter and take me out to sea and all that. So that's kind of how I did the calculus on that. So I ended up starting to build a shelter probably by midday of day 2, after I had already scouted and all that. Then I decided to go with just a really basic lean-to shelter that against this. On the screen, it looks like, people ask me, were you in a cave? And I was like, no, it was a tree that had fallen, had been there who knows how many years, and it had things growing out the side of it, different ferns and things. So it almost looked cave-like, but it was actually just a fallen tree that on its side was about as tall as I am, and I'm 6.5 feet tall. So, that tree in its decaying state was still 6.5 feet wide, still had a lot of structural integrity. And the reason I chose that is because there are so many huge trees in there. If a storm happens and these things start coming down, I want the protection of having my body up against this thing that's 6.5 feet above me. So hopefully a tree will catch on that and give me a little survivable zone to be in. So that was one thought. The other thought was just thermal mass, and that's half of my shelter that was already built. So I could save time, calories, resources. And I built a very small lean-to. Probably it was bigger than I would have in any other situation, because I had the camera case to accommodate for as well. And I thought I might want to cache some firewood and other things in there. So it was probably 9 feet long and maybe 4 feet wide, 4.5 feet wide, with just one opening.
We've got a Big Dog Ma, good friend of the channel here, asking, I think, were you ever in the military? I've seen a few people ask that.
No, never been in the military. No, I've worked with them. I've done classes for them, but did some security contracting, but never in the military.
Right. Okay. I noticed that questions came up a few times there. We're running through the chat. So what do you think a lot of people who, okay, so there was 10 of you, right? Is that what you said to start? Like, how many days was it before the first person was like, I'm done? Or like, I mean, do you know that? Did you go back and watch?
I do.
Or?
Well, I think I watched the show. I think they actually lost somebody on day 1. Like
it was
2 or something. Yeah.
Is that the bear thing?
Bear. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How far away was everybody, like, as far as miles
Like
or
Yeah, it wasn't far actually, but they were really smart about how they laid it out. They put a terrain feature between you and the next guy, so that it was like very slim chance that you would encounter each other. And we had a little device called a yellow brick, which they could see on the on their master screen, And so they told you, have that on you when you go out. And so I guess what they would do, the plan would be to maybe ping you on that thing and tell you to turn around if you were getting too close to somebody else, which I don't know if it happened. It certainly didn't happen with me, because I did not move much at all. Like once I identified my resources, I stayed really tight.
And that's what I was curious about that show too. Are some people in like better situations than the others? You know.
Well, I think the sites were all very fairly chosen. There were
Very
some
similar.
Like you may have more of one thing, but this other site, obviously you can't in nature find exactly, replicate 10 sites, but they did a really good job about making sure everybody had resources. They didn't really put anybody somewhere that was. Now, when I looked at everybody else's water sources, I was kind of like, man, I kind of got
right.
They like flowing water and this beautiful stuff, but no, I think it was all pretty fair, especially how we selected them. We actually got them our last supper. They came around with a plate of fortune cookies, and handmade fortune cookies, and inside of them was 1 through 10, which were corresponding to I guess a 10-digit grid that they had on their maps for a spot. And I got site number 10. And that's where they took me. I didn't know at the time.
Did they really do it with a fortune cookie?
Yeah.
Oh, so you really got a fortune cookie and had to open. Did it have lottery numbers on the back?
And no, it was just literally like 10 on a little piece of paper. And they filmed it so to show that this was totally random, totally fair selection. Nobody's got favoritism or any of that thing. And I didn't know what that meant, what 10 meant, but I would find out like 2 days
too soon.
Exactly where number 10 was.
Yeah.
Right. We do have some people just now coming in. We do appreciate everybody being here. We got 195 people watching this live right now. That is super cool. Big shout out to all you guys out there. At the beginning, we kind of went over this Yank. We got Yank coming in there question. He says, who picks each individual's pack out gear? So Alan was explaining at the beginning that I guess there was a list, Alan, you said around 30 things or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't recall how many things. I want to say it was like 40 items or something. Potentially you could select 10, but you ultimately, each contestant decides what they take. What you're allowed to choose from, that's from hire, whoever does that.
Right, pre-designated. Here's your 40 items, pick 10.
Yeah, and then you ultimately choose those items and then see how it goes.
Yep. Big Dog Mall wants to know here in the chat, who taught you your survival skills early on?
That would be a lot. That would be a lot of people. As a young boy, I would go around and harass all the old men, anything, because I had this awareness early in life, like the way we're living is probably crazy and it's not going to continue. And I just had this knowing. But so how did we do it before we did it the way we do now? And I would ask everything from how do you put a handle in an axe? How do you sharpen a knife? How do you do this? How do you do that? And my dad taught me a good amount of things. He wasn't really what you would call a survivalist, but I guess back then people were more like that. And then as I got older, I learned from different people that were into primitive skills, just so many people, really too numerous to mention. And I read a bunch too, like I would read all the old survival manuals. And there was one, Larry Dean Olson, who I believe has recently passed. He was kind of one of the people that laid the foundation for the modern survivalist stuff that happened in America. And it was Outdoor Survival Skills was the name of the book by Larry Dean Olson. And I had a black and white copy of it. I carried it around, even in like my high school years. It was always with me. And I would read it at every chance, and just study it. And I was always going out and experimenting in the woods with things. I was always in the woods. When I was in school, I was looking out the window thinking about the woods. Like when I get out of school, I'm going to the woods and I'm going to throw my hatchet. That's what I did. So yeah.
Yeah, I know I saw in that, I guess they had videos before you went out, I guess like YouTube videos that they put out, or I guess they were promos. I saw it on YouTube. But yeah, you had a hell of a damn hatchet throw there, or an axe throw. I know in that one video I saw you were chucking that axe across right into that tree. That was pretty impressive.
It was a shovel. that was like a little entrenching tool.
So that was actually just a shovel you threw?
Yeah, so like a Russian sapirka or a lapaka, like a little sapper.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought about taking. I debated for a long time. Like two of the things on the list that I really debated a lot about that I ended up not taking were the Leatherman multi-tool. I ended up not taking for whatever reason. I like my kukri, and then I thought, well, I'll take an axe too if I need to handle something bigger, and then I might take a saw for precision. So I ended up taking those things. And then the other thing was the shovel. But then I thought, is that a shovel going to make or break me? Because I can make a digging stick. I can dig with a rock. So I ended up saying, you really don't have to have a shovel. And there's people that have taken them since then and done quite well with them. They're, again, different locations. But for where I was, I didn't see digging as being a mission essential task that I was going to have to do. So.
Is there anything you wished you would have took that you didn't take?
Not really, as far as like this piece versus that piece.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I really regretted was my boots. I took a pair of like just Bellevilles, lace up, and I probably should have went with the heavily insulated muck boot, but it's okay. I made it work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing there. You talk about boots. What, obviously items of clothes, like what were you allowed? Did they give you how many changes of this, how many, you know what I'm saying? Like, what'd they tell you?
A fixed list, because you can't have one guy in there with 6 shirts and one guy with 2. So it's very limited amount. I don't even recall what it was now. I knew I had like thermals. I had a jacket. I had a sweater, I think it was like 2 pants or 2 shirts and a thermal and whatever. And now I guess they change it based on location, because they've done some like subarctic region and even Arctic region stuff, I think. And you would have to have different standards of clothing there. So I'm sure that changes every year depending on what they're doing,
But you were allowed to, like, they didn't just like, this is, sponsored by blah, blah, blah. We're issuing you this.
Yeah. In fact, it was quite the opposite. They didn't want to see a logo on the screen. So like if you had something like North Face Patagonia, put tape over it, or tell you to put, the tape over it. Because they were trying not to do that, not to make it. This episode brought to you by Patagonia.
Right. That's what I was curious. Yeah, Columbia, Patagonia. Yeah. What
product placement? Yeah. But no, and the same with the clothing went. Like you had to provide your own. It wasn't anything they did. They told you this is what you can have, this is how many, and go do it. And they searched all your stuff too to make sure you're not cheating. They went through everything. Mm-hmm. They would take your bag from you at some point, and you didn't get it back till you launched. And they had gone through it with a fine tooth comb and made sure you were honorable and everything, and then gave it back to you.
Yeah, you can't be in there and you got like a heater and propane tanks and blow up tent.
A lighter.
No, I always wonder about this, that they're, you can't really show, but I know you have to keep going every day. You have to keep your mind occupied with, food and water and all that stuff coming up. But the boredom, like, do you have like one-man karaoke shows out there singing like Neil Diamond, or like what's going on out there?
It sounds like he did.
Oh, he had the best video. Oh my God, it's so funny.
I kind of played to the camera a little bit, because I thought that'd be fun, and I was like just trying to keep
awesome.
Entertaining. But at the end of the day, it's just a lot of silence, which I'm good with. Oddly enough, I can just sit there and be with my thoughts. I know a lot of people can't do that. I know people that have background noise going, even they can't be in a quiet room. But I don't mind that. I can live a very austere, almost monastic life that's very contemplative. So that's kind of right up my alley, honestly, that part of it. And there again, my mind, I think out there the same way I think on every day. I'm very much in the moment. I don't try to get too far out of it. I'm experiencing what's coming up for me right now.
Right.
Moment to moment to moment to moment. And I think that's the root of most people's suffering, is they're anxious about the future. Everything. Or they're sad about the past. And I mean, I'm human. I fall into that too sometimes. I've got my demons. But I think we all do well to just really stay in the moment as much as we can. Sometimes we have to kind of be forward thinking about things, and that's wise, but you can't stay there all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, KJ, you said you had some questions. What do you got?
I do. So, first I want to say I love the comment that you just made, that you have to focus on step by step. Because I went skydiving one time, tandem, obviously. I'm not trained, but that was like, so I wouldn't die, like in my mind. Like I had to think about, okay, I'm going to put my feet up. I'm moving to the next step. This is what I'm going to do before I do it. You know what I mean? If I thought like I was freaking out. So yeah, I can imagine that your thought process. I think that's really smart. But my thing was, first of all, you said cougars, and I was like, wait a second, Gigi and Katie weren't there, but whatever.
Oh,
Right.
good Lord.
Wow.
Okay, anyway, I had to do that.
Yeah.
But how low did the temperature get? Because you were there towards fall, towards the end of fall.
Yeah, all through into winter weather. I don't have a way there again to quantify. Couldn't have
Okay.
a way to measure that. Now on the show, I think they did. On the screen, it told how cold it was. I do know that I woke up a couple mornings and like every blade of grass was encapsulated in ice, and like everything was just hard frozen and crunched. So it was cold. I had like icicle inside my shelter. I heard it drip, and then I stopped dripping, and I realized that we're below freezing in here.
Okay.
And the Pacific Northwest is noted for moisture, so that's like almost it's cold or moist. The whole being wet is worse than being cold, because if it's cold, you can handle it. That like when they always say, "Oh, but it was a dry cold." Well, it is easier to deal with a dry cold than a wet cold.
For sure it is, yeah. Because when you're wet, you actually lose body heat 25 times faster. Like if you're in wet clothes. Fun fact. So, yeah, staying dry is a thing, and having proper clothing. I can't say enough about that. Like that is your, people think shelter and they automatically think like a teepee or a log cabin or something like that. First thing I think is clothing, like 4 layers of clothing. That's your initial shelter for your body, and then that's the shelter that you wear, and then you got shelter you carry, like you might have a poncho that you could make a little shelter out of, and then you got shelter that you could make, which is what we ultimately did, built shelter. And that's one of the things I look for when people are doing things. I can kind of gauge their success by how grandiose their plans are for a shelter. If they set in to build this log cabin, I'm like, no, man, that ain't the way. So you want to build something that's like a coffin, just enough to get in for your body. Keep it small. Because of several reasons. One, I'm not burning all that time, energy, calories, and all that, predisposing myself to injury to create this grandiose thing that I then have to heat that is not efficient use of my caloric heat in my body and whatever fire I may have. And I don't keep my fire going all the time like a lot of people do. I use fire very sparingly and judiciously. So I try to make my shelter comfy, and so something between you and the ground is really important. Like building a mattress is so important, and you should constantly improve upon that position every single day. Fluff that thing up. If it's a dry day, go get more grass to put in there, and that's really a big one, because if you lay on the cold ground, you will die, like literally kill you.
Well, this is interesting. So I guess Curator in the chat looked up the stats from the show. So he said that Alan, your starting weight was 186 pounds, and he lost 60 pounds during his time on the show, weighing 126 when you were extracted.
Jeez.
Is what?
Not accurate. I was over.
That's not accurate.
Well over 200 pounds, and weighed out when I left at like 190 something. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's not
200 when I came out, and so I was well over 200 pounds when I.
Yeah, because you're you're like 6'6", aren't you?
Yeah, I'm 6'6", and
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you weighed 126 pounds at 6'6", I mean that would
right. It's like the minute bowl over here.
Maybe in high school when I ran cross country, I weighed like 175, cleanest I've been.
126.
I think my leg weighs 126.
Yeah, and I seen the end of it where they came and told you that you were the last one, and you definitely did not look 126 pounds. I mean,
No, I was still good to go, and it's surprising how stout you can be out there, even though you're, calorie deprived by modern standards. Like I was throw a log on my shoulder and scoot, So So the strength part, really, what was noticeable to me was energy level. Like carbs, man, they're a thing. After a while, you just kind of you get the energy's just not there. The strength is the energy is just like you really got to talk yourself into doing stuff.
Yankee here. So, do you think does this man think a 22 rifle would have been the single best tool for harvesting food in real life? Like if you were allowed to take it, but you weren't allowed to take guns, were you? I mean,
no, they were actually forbidden, and much to the sadness of many of the contestants because they were hoping to carry something with them. But yeah, you wouldn't be wrong to have a 22 with you up there. That would be on my short list of things. If I'd have had a 22, I would have eaten probably 5 or 6 meals, and if everything lined up. But there's a lot of geese out there, but like where I was at and where they were, it was so far out that even if I shot one, I don't know like how I would have retrieved it without swimming out in the ocean to get to those rocks. So yeah, but no, 22 that's a proven thing. Like I was studying one thing that they sent troops during World War II out to the Aleutian Islands, and they issued them like a long-barreled 22 single-action pistol for that very purpose, to source small game and things, and they used it with great success. There's been a lot of case use of that historically. Yeah. That would be on my short list if I were to have a firearm. Yeah. Shotguns, nice.
Yeah, a nice shotgun with some bird shot would have been nice with geese flying around everywhere.
Yeah.
Or you could have just got one bear. It's kind of like playing that old Oregon Trail. What's that, old man? Take it away.
How did he wash his clothes out there? Did he
Seawater.
Find a stream?
Seawater. Yeah.
You just rinse them out?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
he's got a video of him.
Oh, does he really? I didn't see that.
Smoke, do its thing, give him a smoke bath. The main I wash was my socks and like my undergarments, the levels that touch my skin, obviously. But some of the outer garment stuff, I just didn't bother to wash it. I would just smoke it constantly. I mean, it was basically preserved because I'm living in this smoke hut,
I've seen him naked. Not kidding.
He's all excited over there.
And Gutter's been watching all the videos.
I have. I checked them all out.
That one.
In my life, my stage name back then was Vanilla Thunder. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So, okay, I know this is like kind of a weird question, but I'll bet like when you got back, like that had to have been the best shower you've ever taken in your life. Like after how many days, 50 something days out there, I'll bet like just a hot shower and a hot meal. Like what'd you eat? What was the first thing that you ate when you got back?
Yeah, that was going to ask. Yeah. What's the first thing?
Well, yes, the shower was glorious. Like it was awesome. Just to have something warm touch me like all over at one time was
yeah.
After all that experience. But like I think the first thing I ate, so I'm kind of a fat kid at heart. I have sweet teeth, so I got not like now you gotta understand, I think they have like a refeeding program and they have people talking to you and they kind of supporting you and all this, and it was not like that. They took me to this cabin and they were like, "What you want?" And I was like, "I want some peanut butter, man," because I've been drinking about it every damn night while I'm out here. And I think chocolate too was on the list. So I took, I didn't use a spoon. I used the chocolate bar to get the peanut butter out and started shoving it down my neck, which was the answer. I immediately got drunk. Like the room started going.
Oh my gosh.
Lay down. So I was like, whoa, pace yourself, buddy. And then I think the next morning I ate some pancakes and I put peanut butter on them too. And it was glorious. And, yeah, it wasn't like, here's some bone broth. Like it probably should have done that, but I did. I dreamed about peanut butter so much. I was like, when I had the chance, I went all in. I was just, I went full addict mode on that stuff. Yeah.
Did you get like a good steak meal or anything like that? I mean, was that?
Yeah, I think I ate a piece of meat and some kind of potatoes at some point, and then Like that first night, I was just up a lot. I couldn't sleep. There was a little light in the cabin, a little blue light on the stove, like telling you the time. And it might as well have been a road flare because I was like so used to pitch black. It's dark up there. Like you see your hand like this. And so to go from that to, and also I noticed the hum of electricity being in that place because I hadn't been around that and I didn't realize, we're kind of desensitized to it, but electricity is a thing.
Cool.
Feel it, you can hear it, and so I didn't sleep well right then, and so I was just kind of up and down all night that first night.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're like, all this stuff bothering me. Take me back to my lean-to in the woods. I got to get some sleep. What the hell's going on?
Like it was like panicky, but at the same time, see that when you're the last one, you have not prepared yourself psychologically to leave. You don't know it's happening. They just come and snatch you out of that environment. Mm-hmm. And so everybody before you chose to leave, packed their stuff, got on the sat phone, called them in, said, hey, I'm tapping, or whatever. So they kind of work themselves. That's one distinction for the ones that are there last. You're not ready for this. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of like a mental whiplash to go from you kind of just shut down all these unnecessary parts of yourself, and you almost do kind of become animalistic in a way. And then to be ripped out of that, and now I'm back on a helicopter. I'm like, wow, sensory overload kind of thing. And but yeah, it was.
Yeah, you're like, hey, that's my shelter. I worked hard at that. Don't tear it down.
I really did onto that place. I have such a connection with that land and those people now. Always will. I remember flying out, looking back down at the land, and I kind of teared up, and I was like, I'm still down there. Like part of me is still in those woods,
Wow.
And it's powerful. You don't really, like, people ask me, what was the hardest part of that whole experience? And I always say coming home, honestly, because that's such a beautiful existence to be truly free and just be out there doing your thing as another animal on the land. And then to come back to this, you just, wow, we're really out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're really out of whack the way that we live, and I had, it really makes you think about efficiency so much more. And I had this epiphany since then. One day I was eating a bag of trail mix, and I get bored sometimes and I read stuff. So I'm reading as I'm eating the trail mix, I'm reading the back of the bag, it's got the ingredients. And sometimes it's the practice where they'll label the country of origin behind each ingredient, It was like this fruit came from the Philippines and this thing came from Madagascar and this came from Costa Rica. And so there were like 10 countries represented in this bag of trail mix. I put the bag down. It was like this oh shit moment. And in my mind's eye, I was like, I envisioned the globe and these 10 different locations and people working and picking the fruit and harvesting the nuts and doing things and putting them onto the trucks, and the trucks or the boats or whatever, taking them with their fuel energy and the person operating that vehicle. Ultimately, they all, planes, trains, and automobiles, they end up in this same centralized spot, and we had to produce a bag, and this machine put it in there, and then you put it in a box, and then it goes on to this distribution center, and another person has to show up with their fuel energy, their caloric energy, and this vehicle to take it to Walmart. And then I have to use my vehicle and my fuel energy and my economic energy to go retrieve what is ultimately a snack. Like
Right.
if it were possible to seriously quantify all the hands that touch this thing and how much input went into it for the output, which is ultimately just a snack, I think it's representative of like how hopelessly out of whack we are right now. Like if a hunter-gatherer spends more time and energy than he can replace, you will die. And if our forebears did this as we do now, we would not be here having this discussion. Mm-hmm. Like the trajectory we're on is going to take us straight to the scene of the crash, dude. Like it's not, we've got to, I keep saying probably the most radical thing we could do as humans is to localize our food infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Like, eat from the same valley you live in, And I even heard once in America took apples and put them on a cargo ship, and they sent them to China, and they made applesauce and they sent it back to us.
Oh,
I was like, what? Are you serious?
Yes.
What mind does this even seem like a good idea? But it actually happens like that.
So crazy.
We really,
Now, was that kind of, so if I'm not mistaken, I mean, that was kind of your strategy. You just kind of bunkered down, went, okay, I'm just going to stay right here, use as little energy as possible, and just, take in as much as I can and use as little. Were there other people? I mean, is that where a lot of other people failed earlier, was trying to do too much?
I think so. I think they outstripped their caloric reserves a lot, for sure. I could have gone out there and had grand adventures, but it's like, if the juice ain't worth the squeeze, why are we doing this? Like,
Right.
if I'm going to walk half a day and not get anything to eat and walk back, all I spent was time and calories that I did not replace. Key point. So, and
Right.
look at it like a bank account. At some point, you're overdrawn, And so,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I look at-
Bilbo here in the chat, he makes a good point. Like the movie Castaway, he's like, they dramatized some of that, of the disconnect at the end of Castaway, where Tom Hanks is put in a hotel room and sleeps on the floor.
Yeah.
So I think he was relating that to like you getting out of there and being like, hearing the noises and hearing the things and just being like,
yeah,
he put me back to the peace and quiet, for the love of God.
That was funny, because when I saw that movie, at the end, there's this big feast and everybody just leaves, and there's a mess laying everywhere, and there's like all this half-eaten food and crab legs and stuff, and he walks over and picks one up and just kind of has this moment. I'm like, I can relate to that, because you come back and you look at how much food we throw away in this country. It's unbelievable,
Yeah, it is unbelievable too. You go to like, a local grocery store, or you go and you think about the buffets and the things like that, and you look at the food they have lined up there, and it's more of just a, scam to get people in. But I mean, they fill the dumpsters at the end of the night, and they can't give it away, because if it's bad, somebody will sue them. So, it's kind of a catch-22 there, but
yeah, it really is.
yeah, it's pretty sad the way to do. So would you do the show again, or hell no?
No, I would do an experience like that again. They've asked back. I think they asked me one time about, would you consider, or somebody asked me, like, if they got the winners together and did a show, would you do it? And
that would be cool.
No, I'd have to think about it, because I think what would happen in that situation is you would have people. It would at that point no longer be about testing yourself; it'd be about ego, and you'd have to trying to push farther than they should. I don't know. Maybe if they did it where they did something super challenging, like get a bunch of winners together and be like, you get to take no tools, or you get to take one. You get one thing and then go, like, something to make it like really, really like a meat grinder. Then I might try that. I don't know.
Because otherwise, it probably, if you took all the winners,
Yeah.
you could be out there for a year, possibly.
People that have already shown, they don't really need society much, and I'm cool being by myself, and I've got the skills to be by myself. So that might drag on a good bit.
Be going out there, just people be having houses built and stuff like that. It'd be raising horses over here, and you got a farm over here. I got to go milk the cow in the morning. It's like,
like where I'm at in my life right now has gone to a much different place, and I like being behind the camera. I never really did like being in front of it. I don't love that part. My passion is filming. Remind me to show you that trailer from DePaul. You'll love it next time I see you.
well, I want to get you to tell people about that real quick too before I don't know how much longer we got you here. We've been going for over an hour here. I don't want to keep you all night, but tell people about that, because that's a pretty cool experience, and what you're doing now. Like, let people know, because we want to, like, when you get that done, make sure you share that with us so we can push it out wherever your platform is and stuff like that, for you to help spread the word of what you're doing. So, talk about what you're doing now.
Yeah, it was like a slash humanitarian mission slash my lifetime bucket list trip. So I have had this fascination with kukri knives since I've been 10 years old. First time I saw them, the American Bando Association did like a drilling ceremony demonstration with them, and I was just like, I was blown away at this thing. And at the time, I was in martial arts as a kid and have been, most of my life, and just fell in love with them, and then started studying them and fell in love with Nepal and the culture. And there's this YouTube channel, La Jim Buddha, and he has this one video called In Search of Market, where it shows these Nepalese ladies making blankets from start to finish, and I just fell in love with the people, and got the opportunity to go when we had our 100-year flood. They also had the 100-year flood, and the blacksmith shop where my kukri knife came from was destroyed. And the guy that helps them import their stuff and has gotten them through COVID and all the earthquakes and all that, through him, I figured out how to get there and where they were and all of this. And it just so happened that I was there on day one when they started the rebuilding process. And so I filmed literally, they're taking the rubble of the old shop and with a kukri knife, oddly enough, using it like a masonry hammer to knock the mortar off. And they're repurposing these old broken bricks and pieces to build the new shop with. And so I filmed this really beautiful documentary of them doing that, and back to the end state of them actually forging knives again. And it was just such a beautiful experience, and immersed in that culture, and oddly enough had some connections with India happen while I was there. So I may try to go back. I want to try to do a missions trip to Rajasthan and meet a guy that I met while I was in Nepal, go back and see him at his place there. And so that's kind of where my heart's at now. I like filming things. I do a lot of that with the homeless over in Asheville. I'll go out and film. I've interviewed a lot of them and just spent time with them, kind of it started off as a survival training. I do urban survival as well as wilderness survival. So I would go out there and I just really kind of fell in love with them. And I was like, well, you guys are urban survival experts. We don't call you that. They call you homeless, but you're an urban survival expert. And you've got a strata. You've got people that have, deep mental health issues, chemically dependent, other things going on, and some of all the above. And then you've got some strata of that demographic. They're out there by choice. Mm-hmm. And those people are really cool to get to know. Like, they just enjoy being out there. And they come up with some of the most amazing things, and they are some of the deepest, most authentic people. And so that's another potential documentary I have. I'm still sitting on the footage. I haven't figured out how, what I really want to do with it, what it should look like in the end. But
where do you plan to release that at? Like, where is this gonna? Is it YouTube or?
That's what I don't know yet. I'm playing around with some ideas. Because see, initially I was gonna go and do kind of like a project where I have my interviews and the filming that I've done, and then also, have some things that I'm doing where I might pop in and I'm kind of an instructional moment. Hey, if you're in the city, and you're out here doing this, blah, 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 this is how you can do this way or that way. So it may be like a human interest story / educational type thing when it's fully fleshed out. We just have to see. But life happens, and I've got so many other things going on that I have to back burner a lot of my footage, but I just keep stacking it up,
Right. Well, if you ever need any help, holler at me. I can always give you a hand with some of that, or help, figure some of that stuff out. 'Cause I'm the same way.
Actually may do that, because I've got one editor she's a professional. Like, she used to do Super Bowl ads, like that level. So for editing, she helps out sometimes with that stuff. But like, as far as, like I say, I can't run my cell phone. So if I did have an actual YouTube presence, it would be because somebody else sprinkled the magic dust and made it happen.
Right. If you need any help, reach out. I mean, I can help you out. I too have some equipment and stuff like that might, you might be able to help you and show you how to use and stuff like that. I know the same thing. I've got SD cards. I've got probably 40 of them, of those, 250 or whatever they are, megabit, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they're full of footage of Thailand, Indonesia, China, all these different places. And it becomes overwhelming when you have so much of it. And it's hard to go through. And I know you film 10 hours of stuff and only use 17 minutes of it is all you're going to get out of it. But if you're not filming, you don't get it. So it's so hard to, it's like you say, okay, I'm going to make a video. And then you go, okay, well, let me break this down and you start going through. I mean, it takes you 10 hours just to figure out what you got. And then you got to go back and like, oh my God, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned out there on the show, you know, and I've polished that skill since then, how to be very targeted. Like I know what I want. I know the shot I'm trying to get. And
Right.
like I'll do a hold on something, but not like just sit there and let it roll forever. I keep it limited and I'll turn it off and then I'll turn it back on and do another shot. So it makes that editing process faster because you got smaller snippets to look at instead of just looking at 15 minutes of
Right.
some guy's feet with sawdust flying around or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. But my problem is always like you catch the craziest things when you're just filming, like especially traveling. If you're going around, you know what I mean? You have those moments where you're like, God, I wish my camera had been.
I know. All the time.
You know, and you're like, I missed that. That would have been perfect.
That's where the GoPro is so awesome. Like if you could just keep one of those rolling, like on a chest mount or somewhere. Like,
Right. Oh, I meant to ask you that. What cameras did they give you to use? Were you using GoPros or were?
Yeah, we had some GoPros, but I don't think I used mine very much. You could actually, they had a little thing you could put it in. You could submerge it and watch your fish traps with it and stuff, which was kind of cool. I don't think I hardly used the GoPro much though, honestly. We had the really big camera on a tripod. I think they called it like a 25 or something like that. I can't remember now. And there was like a smaller one. That's the one I used the most for obvious reasons. It was just lighter and more portable. So if I'm already carrying an axe and a bunch of stuff, this small camera seemed to work better. But then also, a lot of times we would be filming from two angles simultaneously, you know, kind of like an L shape.
Right.
Point. And
so I guess they gave you like these instructions kind of, and were like, this is what we want you to do.
Yeah, they definitely gave you some direction about how to film, like what this is the hard thing you shouldn't do, and this is kind of best practices kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you'll mess it up because you're tired and you're not a cameraman by trade, but they at least give you enough that you can pull it off and capture the experience. But I think we had, let's see, I remember having the big camera, and there was a smaller camera, and there was like a couple of GoPros. I don't know, maybe 5 cameras and a bank of batteries. Man, I had batteries for days lined up in that Pelican case. So.
Well, I saw Old Man Build's thought process start going right there. He's like, oh, you had a bunch of batteries, huh? He'd have been like the professor on the island. He'd have had like windmills going, you know. He's like, batteries? What? You go to Old Man Build's lean-to shed and he's got like power going. He's built a microwave.
Oh, yeah.
He's got.
He was showing us his battery last night with made of orange juice.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he made a battery out of orange juice, and he's about to do that, which is I don't know how it works, but it does.
That's why I think humans need a village, right? You got this whole lone wolf mentality, which I think is garbage. I think we're supposed to be in little small enclaves, little villages, so that if something comes up, there's somebody there that is the right fit for that problem to take charge of that situation, you know.
Right. And you know, going back to the thing, I think of what we were just laughing about with, you know, Old Man Builds with the building the batteries. You always look at Gilligan's Island. I mean, you had the professor there. The only thing he couldn't make or fix or do anything to was a boat.
Yeah.
Right. Like everything else the guy could build.
The boat for anything.
Except for the boat. He couldn't fix that.
It wouldn't have a show if that happened. You know?
Right, exactly.
It worked its way around that.
So, okay, Big Dog Ma is asking here right now, you know, it's like his knowledge would be great to share on YouTube for survival. So do you have, I noticed there's a couple YouTube channels that, are they yours or are they?
Mine. Like I say, if you see me out there, it was at the behest of someone else and somebody else pulling the levers. I probably should do, people keep saying I should do like a Patreon or something. I don't know what that is or how to.
I love it.
Like if I had somebody, I would have to have somebody run it. I guess I could ask one of my daughters. They're tech savvy enough to do it, or one of my sons. I don't know. I'm just like, I could go film the thing, but then I need to hand it to somebody and be like, make it live on the thing and do the, yeah.
Right. So none of these YouTube channels out there are actually your channels.
No.
Okay.
No, like I said, I'd have to have somebody handle that. Like I would delegate that, compartmentalize that, and I would just do what I do, which is the stuff and film it, which I love. And then beyond that, I don't really want to learn that.
Because you do have imposters out there, I guess, stealing your stuff. There is a channel that is, Alan K Survival or something like that, and that's not your channel?
No, I don't think so. Maybe it's one that somebody set up one day.
It was like
No, I
11
don't
years
think
ago.
so.
Yeah, there were people that were like, "Hey, I'll set you up a thing." I'm like, "Okay, cool," and I'll film some stuff for you. Okay, cool. But like, I never really did all the things you do with it, and that's another thing. People expect you to get on there and talk to them and get comments, and I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth in my life for that. I don't just like, I think it's incumbent on you, or at least they feel it is, that goes with the territory. I'm like, no, dude, the video is what you signed up for. There it is, dude. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm not going to sit here and explain and argue or justify with you, but because that's what it involves.
I love it.
Kind of, what about this? What about that? I'm like, yeah. Any ways to skin a cat? Do whichever one you want the most.
Yeah, no, and that's a
about
great
this all
philosophy
wrong.
to have there too.
Yeah.
Nathan, you got any questions? While we
Oh,
still got
man.
them up here?
We're doing this all wrong. He's got it all figured out. See, I have to do everything. You know what I mean? From the editing and everything and talking to people and going on and doing live shows and everything. You know what I mean? Doing all the filming and then you get shocked that living daylights out of me when I'm not looking. You know what I mean? When they grab you as you walk by. So if you haven't figured out, I made Tesla coils and stuff like that. I deal with high voltage all the time. So yeah, it kind of bites you every once in a while. But yeah, you got to figure it out, man. I need somebody like that. Just here. I got shocked. You take care of the rest. I think you got to figure it out.
Well, you know that old saying, stay in your lane. Like if you've got a team, like not everybody on the team has to do. You should have different functions based on your aptitudes and inclinations. And like I'm a big fan of that model. And if somebody needs my support, like show me what you need. Hold here, push here, do that thing. I'll work with them, but they need to take tactical command of that situation if they are the person most merit-based to do that thing or knowledge.
Yeah. Old Man Builds is like, can y'all edit this while I go to the emergency room?
Yeah.
Like like you got some people that are really do-it-yourself or really driven. Like I have to do every single thing in my life. And I'm like, I'm not going to stop and watch videos and read some manual for a week to do a thing that I could call somebody that's what they do. They already have the tools. They have the tactics, the techniques, the procedures. They can show up, crush it in 30 seconds. Let the man do what he does, and I'll keep doing what I do. And not to say I won't learn new things. I'm not averse to growing. I think everybody should grow and learn, but I don't fall into that. I have to do it all. And I know me at this point in my life, and most sacred thing is peace. And if something starts to stress me out, then that's not serving my highest good. I know I'm not a tech guy, so I'm not going to try to be one. I have respect for them because we need them in the world, but I'm not going to go to the computer programming class at this juncture. It's just not in me to be that guy. I don't have the mind for it,
Troy V does make a good point here in the chat, going back to my Gilligan's Island thing. He says, although if you had the choice of Marianne, Ginger, and Mrs. Howell every night, why would you want to make a boat? So I guess Troy V, good point, sir.
That's funny.
Okay, well, is there anywhere, I don't want to keep you, much longer. I know you probably got to go to bed. Is there any thing you want to plug, or is there, any way people can find you or something you got going on,
No, I don't want them finding me. I have nothing.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I don't want them finding me. Leave me the fuck alone.
I need to do that right there. That's me.
No, I mean, but it keeps it pure. Like when I show up to a class and I teach people, or if I go do a thing, it's from the heart, man. I ain't trying to sell you a t-shirt at the end of it or something. And, my message, I guess, like when I came back, people would ask me, well, what epiphanies do you have? What da-da-da, kind of like Forrest Gump when he was running and he stopped in the, I was like, oh, he's going to speak, he's coming off. Like, what's he going to say? I would say slow down.
I think I'm going to go home now.
I do want to say, Alan, that, the YouTube channel that you know nothing about and somebody just started for you, some of these videos have like 21,000 views. I mean, this is like survival stuff is a huge interest for people. So just,
It is. I got one, I think that's over 1 million, where we did this little thing. And but you know, like most things, I evolve and I'm growing all the time. And I kind of like I used to be so passionate about survival, not just really for me, but I thought the whole world should know it because, like Miyamoto Musashi said, when you know the way broadly, you see the way in everything. And that's kind of the way that I am. You know, the wilderness is such a classroom. You know, learning the process of friction fire teaches you about yourself. It teaches you perseverance and patience and putting things in perspective. And so now, like, I still kind of like teaching, even though people burn me out on it, but I'm more selective on how I do it. And I'm really about more things like hanging with the homeless, going out. I like traveling to other cultures and documenting their reality and letting people here in the States get a glimpse into that, like how happy they are and how little they have. Like there's lessons there. There's lessons in all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at now. And, you know, survival or bushcraft or whatever, I don't really consider myself any of that stuff. I'm little pieces of all of it. I think survival kind of it's talked to death and overcomplicated. I mean, you all are alive, right? I'm talking to live people, and you're all survival experts. You made it this far. I'm sure it wasn't easy.
Well,
that's
only
right.
because we had a grocery store down the street. I mean, let's be honest. Come on, dude. If it was all shut down tomorrow, we would die within a week. 90% of us.
No,
Oh,
what?
that's kind of where I'm at now, right? Like if we're going to survive as a people, it's not about, I don't think we need another video on how to make a fire. If you don't know fire by now, like
I'm banking on the fact I know where you live.
yeah,
That's it.
Dude, yeah, I don't know where you live, but I know where
this
Fools
guy.
lives. So.
I know this guy.
So, like that's what we need to be looking is what are we going to do for those around us and in the community, like the backups to the backups type thing, that mentality, like depth. Okay, so right now we turn a faucet, water comes out, cool.
Right.
What if that doesn't happen? What if that's not true tomorrow? And you turn the knob and nada. Okay, what's your plan B? And
Pay
if,
my water bill.
like if you don't you have an answer to that, that's where you start because you have a problem. Like I promise you're going to have water in 8.2 pounds to the gallon ish. And we live in the mountains, so it's going to be at the bottom of it. If you live up top, you don't want to be carrying that. So start thinking about water first, right? Just like in a survival situation, the first question I ask, where's my water? That tells me where the shelter goes. It tells me where the trap lines go. It tells me everything. Like water is the biggie. And so we have to be good stewards of water and stop contaminating it, first off. Secondly, in a rural situation, yeah, you have a well, but what pumps it from 450 feet in the ground? Electricity.
Electric.
So, yeah. If that's not happening, then how are you getting that water out? There's ways you could do it. You could go ahead and spend some money right now and put a hand pump on there. You could put a solar backup on it, and then you'd have, you know, 2 backups. If the grid tied option fails, you got solar. If that fails, you've got hand pump. So, you know, yeah, think about that stuff and carry a water filter. Sawyer, Sawyer. They're pocket size. You can stick them in your pocket. Like there's villages in Africa that use these things, and they're like $30. Get one. Like get that in a cigarette lighter. There's your survival kit. Put that in your pocket. Go forth.
I got it all wrote down. I'm telling you, dude, I'm in your brain. You may not know it, but I'm there.
Gigi's making her survival list, and Sawyer out there. Yeah, definitely. We got a sponsorship here. We can hook you up with Alan over here.
Well, yeah,
So check it out. When I was a kid, we used to make bows and arrows, right?
yeah.
So you take the twig and you find one that has a nice bend to it that can flex and take it, and then you take the other twig that has a little bit of wetness to it, a little bit of sap in it, and you start stringing it, right?
Yeah.
You pull the bark off in strings, and then you wrap it and spin it, and that was your like your cord to it, right?
Yep.
So you'd be able to get the bow and arrow and shoot it, and then you had to learn how to make blow darts. You know what I mean? Something sharp on the end, something that has a little bit of things. You can get some air pressure behind it. Find anything that kind of works as a tube. So yeah, you had to learn that stuff real quick when you were a kid, man. You go out there and you hunt and stuff like that, but you couldn't use anything that you could buy at the store. You had to make it out there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to sound like a boomer and be like, well, we had to walk up hills both ways. But our childhoods, I mean, I think we're all pretty much the same age, within 5 years of each other here. We do have an ongoing joke, Alan, that we're all 39 on YouTube. That is our thing. So we're all 39. But we did grow up different. I mean, we were all put outside. You were, you made your own fun. There wasn't any of this stuff nowadays. I mean, I would have trouble believing like the youth of today. I don't think like could you imagine just going to a college campus nowadays, picking up 10 kids and dropping them off in British Columbia and see how long they would last?
Just take their phone away and watch what happens.
Right.
And that's what I was, yes, take their phone away and see what happens.
Yeah, it would be. That's one of my favorite toys was a hatchet when I was a kid, honestly. Like, what I did. I cut trees down and threw hatchets at stuff so yeah, most of these kids, they would be challenged.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was so cool. You'd go to the flea market, and you would get to buy a throwing star and a machete. And that was the fun, then you'd go back and you had your sheath and the parents were like, oh, I mean, my brothers and I, the friends, everybody, it was like, oh, here's your BB guns. And we would go out there and pelt each other with them in the woods. And then it was, you're 8 years old and you got a Ruger 1022 and parents are like, well, come back before it's dark. You're like, this is awesome.
Spit wads in your BB gun. Yeah.
Well, Jaron had a good question. He asked, were there markers out there that kept you from wandering into someone else's territory? And how far were you allowed to go? I know you didn't have that, but didn't you say something about school that they kind of ran you through?
We had
there were no markers, but we had that yellow brick I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I guess that's how they would keep you from getting too close. And like I said, it never happened to me, but and I don't think there's any danger of that because like where they would put you, there would be like an inlet and a ridge between you and the next guy. So there's no way. I mean, I guess some guys might get sporty, but there's no way you're venturing that far out because you would just be soaked and lacerated probably from the vegetation if you tried to go too far. Like I say, on initial scout, it didn't take me long to figure it out. I'm going to eat right here at this intertidal zone, and that's where I'm going to live is on the beach. And I didn't go into the woods much at all. Yeah.
Well, and it all kind of comes back to that whole don't burn your energy because, if you got to run around burning your energy to get firewood and keep it going all day, well, now you need food because you just ran around all day trying to get firewood to keep going all day. So, I mean, you create yourself a vicious circle.
You really do. It's about conservation of resources, and time is a resource. It is. Your energy is a resource, and so I have to manage all of those things. I can't let my mind get crazy and be wondering about stuff it doesn't need to be wondering about. And same with your caloric energy. You have to be very targeted. Why am I doing this? And everything I did was bringing me water or food or warmth. And if it wasn't one of those three things, I didn't entertain it. Because it's pretty austere environment. I mean, if you're living on slugs and seaweed, you don't have a lot of margin for error and with that type of diet.
Yeah, I still go back to the slug thing. That was absolutely just. I don't know. And like, I'm going to go on ahead and say it. I'd like to think that you could drown. Now, I would have lasted 2 days. I'd have been like shooting the flare or calling the radio and being like, all right, I'm done. Not to say that, I always said like if we ever had like The Walking Dead, I'm just going full on Negan. If anybody's ever watched that, I'm just going to be like, all right, guys, look, we're just going to take over. But big shout out to you. That's super cool. How many days was it again?
It was 56.
Now, did you have like a little notch you put on, on a tree or something every day or?
So I had a little stick that would just prop up next to that log where I made my shelter right next to the fire. And so I had this ritual every morning. I would get up, and as I was putting my boots on, I'd grab that stick, I'd take my kukri off my side, and I'd put a notch in it. And so I would know how many days. Otherwise, I would definitely lose track because my mind doesn't really process numbers anyway. For some reason, I don't think in terms of that. And Like, people that know me will tell you, like, that's him every day. He's in the moment. Like, he's not thinking too much about anything except what's going on. And if I didn't do that, I would have probably lost track pretty quickly. But yeah, I had that stick there. That's about the only thing I did, I think, as far as anything that wasn't like a actual implement I needed to survive with that one notch stick.
So, okay, so last question, and we'll let you, I don't want to keep you much longer, and we've been on here for a long time. Like, did you ever have contact with other people that were on the show? Like, at the end, did y'all talk to each other? Was there any of that, like, camaraderie, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a couple of the guys that I still keep tabs on to this day.
Oh, that's cool.
To some degree, I've spoken with all the guys I was out there with after the event, but like Chris Weatherman, me and him are really big buddies. And
you did videos with him.
Yeah, he's actually the reason I'm on the show. He was the one that was like, "Hey, you need to call this guy," and they gave him my number. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been on the show because I didn't know it was a thing, you know.
So he was your friend before, and he suggested you, and then you beat him?
I didn't really look at it that way, but I guess, yeah.
Right.
He's the one. Because remember, he's not a numbers guy, so he doesn't think like that.
So, honestly, in that first season, there was that level of purity. Like, I remember when they told us there was money involved, we were like, okay, cool, because we were all just in it for the love of the game. And I think the other guys will echo that too, that like, we didn't feel like we were competing against them. It was competing against ourselves.
Yourself. Yeah,
and
that's cool.
We were really rooting for each other, hoping they did their best and hoping nobody got killed. Because, I mean, it could have happened, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it never felt like I beat anybody. It just, maybe I beat other versions of myself is what I felt like. If I beat anything, I guess that's what it was.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Did you have anything out there like seasoning, something that you found, some bark or something that you just throw on anything to make it taste better?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But no, there's no seasoning at all.
The thing about it is, though, is
Can I
Alan
have
does know like a lot of things that you can eat out in the wild, where most people don't have that knowledge. They don't. You know.
Especially if you live you're in a different area than you grew up.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're really like,
Mhm.
you wouldn't know.
Key point right there to survival is, you know, especially your plant life is very much a regionally specific thing. So if I travel to the Sonoran Desert, you know, I've got to start over, which I have down there learning that stuff. If I go to a jungle, I'm starting over. If I go to the tundra, I'm starting over. Like every area has its pluses and minuses, and you have to take that on a case by case basis. Some principles are the same, but you know, location really is a huge factor. It dictates what you're going to build your shelter out of. Even, you know, if rocks and grass is all you have, then you have to get creative with that.
You'd be like, you'd put me in the desert, and I'd be out there, and I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know why I keep eating peyote for dinner every night.
Yeah, no.
Oops, I did it again.
Yeah. There's kind of dog out there where they have like, they squeeze something out of a gland, I guess, like on the side of their jaw or something, and they smoke it, and they say it feels like you're dying or whatever.
What the hell?
That's what described it. And then they asked me, after saying that, they were like, "Do you want to try it?" I was like, "No, I don't want to try it."
Well, especially with that,
I'm good.
especially with that description, like, "Hey, man, it's gonna make you feel like you're dying." Oh, cool. Can I try it?
DMT or something they do.
Yeah, DMT. Yeah, I think that is a lot of people say it puts you into like a new. I've never been, nor would I ever. I was making a joke about the peyote, but DMT. They say a lot of people do that, and it puts them into like an outer level shell and they have these experiences. I'm like, you know what? I don't need that. I've had enough experiences.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take anything like that might make me in an altered state of consciousness, because I might wake up wearing somebody else for a jacket or something.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. That's funny. / scary.
Yeah, it's too true. I mean, we always had that long running joke about, the show like Survivor, where you just show up on the thing and you just run around and like the first night you just tie everybody else up and then be like, I won.
Yeah, I saw an episode or two of that. It doesn't appeal. It excuse me. It looks like a soap opera in the woods kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
fake, and that's the
Yeah.
one thing I did like about Alone. It looked real. You know what I mean? And it seemed legitimate, and no doubt it was.
I think there's a lot of that stuff where they TV it up a bunch. And
Yep.
Oh yeah, I've seen you've people from like helicopters have flown over while they're filming it. It's the people on the beach or whatever, and then there's like 75 crew, like 20 cameramen and all these people and tents and trailers, and yeah, it's all. Yours was definitely like the more real of the two.
Right, LW, when you see like a camera crew following people around, and it's like, wait a minute, there's a camera crew over here. How is that? You tell me you're not going, hey, throw me one of those Heath bars over here or something like that. It's like, no. We do have a question, and I'm sorry I skipped this earlier. I forgot to ask. Callie Lisa has asked this a couple times. Good to see you, Callie Lisa, as well. She wants to know, like, why, is there any reason, or do you know anything about it, why there were no, like, women on season 1, or was it just the way the cards fell? How did that work?
I think that was just a function of, like, there were no women even in the boot camp. I don't think any applied, or I don't know how that happened. But there's been a bunch of them since then. Yeah, we didn't have any.
That was before the Me Too. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Has a woman ever won the show?
I don't know.
I wonder. I'm kind of curious about that.
I checked out like season 3, and I haven't been super, like, I don't watch anything. It's not that I have anything against the show. I don't watch any shows. I'm just like Thursday
You
nights.
don't watch TV.
That's that's about time when I'm at trivia. That's kind of what I do.
Well, I could tell it was kind of just like a one-man show type of thing when the guy said the first night, I want to go home. When just that whole thing, when he was like, no, I'm not doing this. I mean, you could really see the fear in him. Like there was no acting that. He was really scared. And I mean, he couldn't wait to get out of there. So, I mean, from then
is that
on.
with the bear?
Yes, with the 3 bears. It was like, I think it was a mama and her couple cubs, and they rubbed against the tent, and he froze. He couldn't.
I can't imagine. That would be super scary.
Well, yeah, because you haven't even like kind of unwound a little bit. You're like your first day. You're like, oh, geez, what do I got to do? And you're like, right off the bat, here's a bear.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you look at most people, I mean, you're sitting here in your house, and you look out the window and you're like, holy cow, there's a bear in my yard. and you're like, and then you think about it, and like living in the South or something, that's a black bear, it's not going to bother you unless you go up and try to steal its, cub or something. But you're living in a house made of sticks in the middle of the woods in British Columbia, and you see what kind of bears would those have been? Brown bears? Is that what would be up there?
Well, no, what we had on the island was black bear mostly. Yeah.
So it was just black bears, the same then.
I think on the mainland they have both, and it's for some reason mostly black on the island. They say you can occasionally, one will swim over or something, but I think the primary threat after our briefing from the wildlife people up there, we were pretty nervous about those cougars, man. It was like,
right.
I've met 1 or 2 in my life too, and boy, I'd be nervous as well, Gutters.
I've lived in the Pacific Northwest my whole life, all 39 years, and I've never seen a cougar, and neither has my husband. Well, except for me, but not really.
Because black bear, I guess black bears are basically, they are what, omnivores, but they don't hunt. If I'm not mistaken, they don't like actually hunt. Like they'll eat ham out of your trash bag, but they're not going to go out and kill for food. You know,
Yeah.
they mainly their
Grizzly.
diet is. Am I
Right.
correct on that?
Yeah, that's basically the general consensus on it. Generally, I mean, black bears do attack people, and when they do mean to eat you, but they're just not the same temperament, you know, as your brown bears and grizzly stuff.
Just
Yeah,
stay
like
away.
a
Try to
grizzly
stay away
is
from
gonna
the
hunt you.
mama with the cubs, and you should be fine.
Marv does it like this: the black bears will run up the tree after you, and the grizzly, he won't run up the tree after you. He'll just push it over.
Yeah, grizzly's gonna hunt you. You know, a brown bear is yeah. You don't want to see those, or a polar bear. Oh my God, those things would be horrifying.
Yeah, yeah, bears for sure will do you.
Yeah, it'd be better to go out by lion because they kill you first. Bear, they'll just start eating your stomach out while you're looking at them. Horrible way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be very uncomfortable. Well, Alan, you got any last words for us, man? I mean, this has been a great having you on. This has been a load of fun talking about this.
Yeah.
More fun than I expected, just to be honest. I will 100% say that.
Super cool.
It's just life skills, really. That's what I think people need to focus on. They look at it as esoteric or survival or some specialist thing, but if you're a human on the earth, they're basically life skills because this is your native habitat. We have just devolved to the place where most people are not comfortable in their native habitat. I'll leave you with this thought. Humans are the only thing in nature that will not stay in their lane. Okay? You look at a bear 500 years ago and a bear today, same animal. He's the same. He hasn't ultimately changed except for he has access to human garbage now. And that's on us, you know. But you can still count on that bear to do bear-like activities. But look at you over the past 500 years. You know?
Yeah, we're the only ones that mess everything up.
We're literally everywhere, man. We just don't know when to stop. We don't know where to look. And it seems like we just keep getting better at killing each other wholesale.
They call it progress.
Well, I was going to say,
Not
and
so
we do it
much.
under the falsehood of progress. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And it's, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in a de-evolutionary spiral, and I think people have to come back to you know, a more grounded way of being. And think about it this way. If I were to tell you, hey man, you're going to be dead in 2 weeks, what would matter to you then? Like half the crap you worry about now would just fall away, right? And you would just you'd hyper focus on the things that actually do matter, probably your family, whatever. So that's all that matters now. Just go ahead and live like you're going to go ahead and do that now. And it just, that's what I love about the woods. The woods is like a temple. It boils you down to your essence. It forces you to look at all this stuff, face your mortality, like all these things. And so that's kind of where I'm at, you know.
Now, do you think, like, I don't want to go like, you know, personal, but like, do you think doing that challenge changed your thought process, or is it more of just how you've evolved as a person through life in general?
Yeah, I don't think it changed the way I think. I think it solidified it.
That's a great
That's
answer.
cool.
It made you go, you got out there and said, I've been thinking this stuff, and then you got out there and you're like, okay, cool, this is my life, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, just an exclamation point.
Yeah.
Right. And good point there, Elda, exclamation point. Because you look at it like, you know, as you grow, you start looking at what's important, what's, you know, what really matters. And I think we all evolve as people, and, you know, you get there and just things that would have bothered you 20 years ago, you look at them now, and this is at least me speaking from my own experience. I'm like, because everybody has, you know, trauma in their life and different things that happen, up and downs, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're on the top of the world, you're below the world. And everybody's going to have that in their life. But the things that would have bothered you years ago, now you're just like, man, I ain't thinking about that for 1 second. I don't care. I got people who love me. Unfortunately, none of them are on this panel. But, yeah. Because I hate all these people. Not you, Alan, just these other people.
Wow.
But you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's very, very different the older you get.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Your priorities shift. You're like, no, that doesn't matter, because I think, you know, there's an old saying that the more sand that has from the the hourglass, the more clearly we see through it.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
And
Wait,
so,
say that again. Say that again. I got to
Yeah.
hear that again.
like, you've got fewer days ahead of you than you got behind you. Like, I ain't got time for no bullshit. Let's focus.
Yeah.
Like, what are we about? What are we gonna do? Let's do it. You know?
Right.
Yeah, I've done that math recently. That's true.
I hate math now.
That's true.
I used to love math, but I hate it now. So we do, before we let you go, we do have one question. Now, this is a funny question. I've actually got a bunch of video of me being a man on the street all through the Florida Keys and Miami, interviewing people. You know, obviously I ask people permission before, you know, to ask the question to them. But every guest that we have on this show, we've got a funny question for.
Okay.
And it has to be off the wall, and no answer is wrong, and that's what makes it fun. Did we or did we not land on the moon in 1969?
I don't know because I wasn't there. I suspect there's probably some skullduggery and, you know, sleight of hand involved.
I love it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna call man BS on that one. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. We ask everybody that who comes on the show, and there is no right or wrong answer. It doesn't really matter. It's just
But
funny
most say exactly what you
I was just
said.
about to say, there is no right or wrong, but you are in the majority.
I know enough about media and information operations and stuff like that to know that, like, everything that's put out there for you is not the thing. Like, that's, yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've got a video I'm putting together where I interviewed all kinds of people on the street. And, you know, I'm not a person to just walk up to people and shove a camera in their face and ask them a question. I'm like, you know, do you consent to being on? I got a question for you. I didn't ask them the question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I've got this whole video I'm compiling of people that I've interviewed. And it's funny. It's funny responses for that question.
I bet it's hilarious because, like, you see when they go around and ask college students, you know, historical questions that we all know, and they're just crickets. Like, looking at his camera blank, like, I don't know.
Oh, those YouTube videos where they're on college campuses and they're like, what is the simplest questions? And they're like, what is your major? And they're like, oh, geopolitics. And it's like, well, where is such and such? And they don't even know. You know, it's like, how do you not know these basic simple things? How many continents are there? And they're like, 9? You know, it's like,
The constant,
oh my God. It's amazing. I even see that doing those trivia nights sometimes. You'll get these teams of these young college kids, and they'll come and they'll sit down and they'll be all cocky at first, you know, and then all of a sudden they're looking around going, I'm like, over there helping them. I'm like, come on, I'll keep you in the game for a minute. You know, like, it's this, you dumbass. You know, like, oh my God, how do you not know this?
times where man, I feel retarded after.
Yeah, I've seen somebody, those man on the street, ask like a 25-year-old, who was the president before Ronald Reagan? And their answer was like Abraham Lincoln. I'm like, good Lord.
Well, there's a gap. Yeah, there's a big gap.
Well, Alan, man, we appreciate the hell out of you coming up here, man. It has been a blast. You know, make sure any help you need from me with anything you're doing like that, you know, reach out to me anytime. You got my number.
I'll do it.
We'll all help you. I mean, this has been one of the most fun shows we've done in a long time. So, you know, I really appreciate it. Anybody got any last questions for Alan before we let him go and let him go to bed?
I just have a comment. So cool. So awesome that you're on here. I thought it was super interesting. I love it. And now I'm like, oh, because I have watched my husband, like I said, my husband was into that show. I just thought it was Alaska. I wasn't, but there is an Alaska show, or maybe part of Alone. They did Alaska, I think. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, so super cool to have you on. Awesome. Loved it.
It was good talking to you guys. Yeah, and I may reach out for that tech support because I have had multiple requests for an OnlyFans page, and I don't know how to make that happen.
Right. Well, I specialize in only feet, but I do know a couple people who do have the OnlyFans. Actually, Old Man Builds. He's got a hell of an OnlyFans channel. Oh, yeah. He goes up there. And
those are just electric fans. I don't think he's talking about those kind of.
Yeah,
fans.
it's got jumper cables, the whole thing.
Well,
right. He gets up there and, you know, does stuff like this on his OnlyFans page. You know.
That looks awesome. Well, the economy is going to be tougher, so we have to diversify. You know what I mean?
That is hilarious. That is too funny.
Oh my God. Well, Alan, thanks so much, brother. I'll plug anything you got. Let me know when you get your videos done and stuff like that. We'll push it out to the world on every one of our channels. I guarantee it. Yeah. Your Nepal stuff and all that stuff like that. Anything you got coming up, we'll help you do anything you need to do.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, man. Well, you got any last words? Anything else you want to say? I don't want to keep you anymore. We're gonna wrap this up here in a second. So
that's just about it, man. Like I would reiterate, slow down. That's what I came out of the woods with. I'm like, we're moving too fast. We're moving faster than we can process how fast we're moving. Mm-hmm. So everybody needs to just slow down, like taste the food, man. Slow down a little bit.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, I agree 100% too. All right, Alan. Well, thanks, man. I will see you soon, and we will talk to you soon. Do you know how to get out of here?
Back door, front door. Yeah.
right. He's like, oh yeah, I know how to run. Make sure you give the missus our love too as well. Wonderful friend of mine as well. So.
Good to meet you, brother. Good to meet you.
Good. Peace.
All right, thanks a lot, Alan, for coming up. That was a great thing right there. That was so much fun.
So good.
Please, he's adorable.
Did y'all have fun with that?
Yes,
great.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That was fun.
Yeah,
I still want to pick his brain though. I feel like I have so many more things that you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna sit at home be going, I should have asked him this. Oh shit, and I should have asked him this. And
right. Yeah.
What do you call himself? White Thunder?
White Thunder. White Thunder. That was great.
Yeah. Well, I would have left out any of those,
No, did he say White Thunder? Vanilla.
Vanilla
Thunder.
Well, no, we saw Gigi's face light up. It was like, oh my God. It was like the purest brightness.
No, it was the funniest thing. I couldn't wait to say that. Dude, you should see the video.
He was naked, you were like, oh my God, this is like heaven right here. That's the
She's been going full cougar right there. Wow, coming out there.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, normally we do a news segment and stuff like that, but God, we're already at 2 hours. I've got news. Mm-hmm. I've got the stuff like that, but I think we probably should just wrap this up here in a minute and call that a good show before we wreck it.
I
agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it was pretty great. I think next week we do. I haven't heard back, but I did reach out. The girl, what's her channel name? LW?
It's Michelle with Who Killed Kurt.
Yeah, I think next week, and just so we know, next week I'm going to have sitting right over here next to me. Next Friday night show is my birthday. And right over here to the right of me, I'm going to have Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer, you can jump up here for a minute if you would like to. But I'm going to have Mr. Producer sitting right over here to the right of me. He probably won't want to be on camera. I'm going to have KJ sitting right over here to the left of me here in the Magic City Lounge.
Well, I think if everybody had their choice, they would prefer KJ over Baker on camera.
Right. So maybe I'll put KJ right here and I'll sit over here to the left. Yeah, whichever way you guys. I could put a poll up in the chat and we could probably see, but I'm probably going to lose that one, and that might spite my huge ego.
Jeez.
Look at Nathan shaking his head.
Right?
So what do you think, Mr. Producer? How did that go?
No, it was great. That was fantastic.
So
I was engaged the entire time back there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, except when Gutters talked, I fell asleep. But then I woke right back up as soon as Alan was, enlightening us.
Yeah, he was great. He was funny and interesting, and yeah, it was great.
No, he's a great guy. He's a really
good
great guy.
I mean, can we just be honest? Like, whatever. Not that big
Oh yeah,
a deal, but it does help.
He's a great interview for sure.
I think we need to look at doing more stuff like this, and not necessarily. I mean, obviously, paranormal, that's our core, right? But it's refreshing every now and then to have something different.
Yeah, no,
I know
so
that
cool.
the Kurt Cobain stuff next week will be a little different too. Of course, I'll be
Kurt
right
Cobain.
there. Yeah.
When you say Kirk, who the hell do you think I thought of?
Captain Kirk?
No. GG?
I don't know.
Kurt Russell?
Charlie.
Yes. Like,
Oh.
that
Oh
was,
God, no, we're not getting him on the show,
I was-
unfortunately.
wow. What
He's
a
not going to be making an appearance anytime
I'd
soon
love
unless
to
we
see
talk
Captain.
about
Well,
ghosts
I don't know.
again.
His wife and me. No, I shut up. Okay, let me just drink my
Anyway,
coffee.
so you
I
mean Kirk-
better. I
okay.
better just go this
Right,
That
route.
will
shout out
actually
Charlie
be
Kirk. I actually met Charlie Kirk one time. So
Dude,
yeah,
he
shout
was
out. man.
so. I loved following him. I loved his stuff. I loved. He was
Good
anyway,
person, and God bless
yeah.
him and his family and all that jazz. So, but we don't, yeah,
was a
we're not going
freaking-
to dive down that
he
thing,
was a
and
kid.
end this on that kind of note. But yeah, hopefully next week, Michelle did reach out to me, and is hoping to make that happen for next Friday night. We can talk
Yeah,
about
that'll
all
be-
that newly.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really cool show. KJ's going to be live here in studio here at the Magic City Lounge with me, and so is Mr. Producer flying all the way in from Oregon to come in here and hang out with me for my birthday, which, my 39th birthday is going to be great. Going to be absolutely great. So, Old Man Builds,
I'm
what you
gonna
got
pop out
coming
of
up
the cake.
this week, brother?
I hope so.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, what do you got coming up this week? Tell the fine people what you got.
Oh, I got a lot of stuff coming up this week. I finished the pulse motor. I'm doing that. I'm starting the testing on everything. I'm doing my orange battery. It's going to be a fun week, man.
All right, that's cool. And Old Man Builds too. Tell everybody what you're doing with. You're going to a convention. What is that coming up?
Oh, in September I'll be at Tesla Tech. I'm being the first day, the third person up there, and I'm going to be talking about coupling, energy coupling, and showing kind of like I did with you guys, and showing some of how the stuff works. The entire show will change completely on the way I did it. But some of the other things that'll come up in there, and then I'll be showing high voltage stuff, man. Just pure energy experiments, and hopefully, God willing, if I get it done, I'll be showing my first energy reactor while I'm there. So it's going to be a huge day for me when I go there.
Now, do they broadcast this anywhere or no?
They put it on closed circuit, and then
closed circuit.
yeah, you can get tickets to go there and see it live. But yeah, I'll be getting the video back, and I'll be able to show it to everybody once I come back.
Sweet.
But yeah, it's going to be really good.
I might try to go to that, LW. So maybe that's something closer to you. Maybe we can meet up and go to that. That might be cool to go to. But the beauty of it is, Old Man Builds, hold your breath, folks, maybe testing some of those things that he is going to be taking there live on the show a little bit. As he figures them out in the process of doing it, leading up to that, to make sure everything works properly. We all love seeing him get shocked. I mean, we've already all admitted that we like to laugh at him when he gets shocked. So it's like, here's a 9-volt battery, stick it to your tongue again. Yeah. So stay tuned. Next week, hopefully we'll be doing, like I said, the Kurt Cobain stuff with that's really hit the stuff. The week after that, I'll be out of town. We do have other guests already lined up for the week after that. We'll have to let you know on that. Gonna be nice. And Gutters, what do you got coming up this week?
I don't know. We'll see. It's a surprise. You just never know.
All right.
I love the non-committing vibe of that.
I know. She's like, oh, yeah, it's a surprise. I know Nightbot's been over here on Traveling Fools. I don't know about everywhere else. But make sure, you can go over, you can type in Old Man Builds into, any of the YouTube, any of that kind of stuff. You're going to find him. Gutters Pub is the same way. KJ, what do you got coming up?
This week, honestly, I don't know. I haven't posted on YouTube in like a month. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I don't know. We'll have to
Don't
see.
be sorry. You don't have to.
Right.
We didn't hear your song.
Oh, yeah. By the way, the news this week was like, so it wasn't, because I like entertainment news, not just something political or something. You know what I mean? It has to be fun.
Politics get old fast.
Yeah. So it didn't work out this week. I did try. I mean, I literally sat here for like an hour, and I'm like going with song. It didn't work out. It was so, I don't want to ruin it. You know what I mean? I got to have good stuff to sing about. La.
Well, I could write it for you. I don't think you'd ever sing it, but I'd write it for you.
I promise I tried. I was like looking. It was like, well, Pink is not getting divorced. The rumor was there. It was like Metallica's going to be at the Sphere. It's like, whatever. It was kind of lame.
I
like
want to
that.
see a concert in
whatever.
the Sphere.
What?
I want to
What?
see a concert in the Sphere.
I that would be
Oh, that
cool.
place looks awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be really neat. One day.
Yeah, one day
It's been
when
a
we
long
make
time
it big,
since I've been
folks,
to
when we make it
Vegas.
big, tell all your friends about what we're doing over here. Make them all come over here, watch, sub up all these people. LW, you got any cool stuff coming up? You going to be doing any of your live burn down streams or anything? Tell people. how they can find you.
Maybe, small chance, but most likely not. I'll be busy all week with life, but I will, God willing, be here next Friday.
You
Oh, I
better.
love that. You wouldn't miss some Kurt Cobain talk for anything in the world, I wouldn't
Hey,
think.
I'll be here every Friday, man. I don't care what we talk about.
There we go.
Word.
And I will try to make sure. I had a friend in town last weekend, so I did not get to do trivia last Sunday night, but hopefully I can make that happen this Sunday night. Thank you, Gutters. This Sunday night. So everybody do 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the best trivia on YouTube. Make sure you sub up Traveling Fools. And yeah, definitely we'll put out some great trivia content. It's a lot of fun. People come in, play live in the chat. It's a load of fun. Guys, that was a blast tonight. I don't want to end it.
Awesome.
Mr. Producer, you got any last words for us? We really appreciate all the work you do in the background.
No, I've got nothing. I guess visit abbynormal.com and contact us if you want to be a guest on the show. It's real easy, simple form. Just fill it out, submit. We'll get it.
There you go. Both Baker and I both get the emails. So yeah, go on if you want to be a guest on the show. Go to abbynormal.com, fill out the stuff, and it's pretty simple. It comes to both our emails. We'll get you on here. We really want to say thanks to everybody who did tune in, though. That to me was a great show. That was so much fun talking to Alan. Great guest. And it turned out fun. It was funny. It was very informative. And I loved it. So that being said, tell us goodbye in the chat. Let's get out of here, folks. We're going to end this while we're behind. So have a great night, everybody. Love y'all. God bless and have a great week. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday night. Hopefully we'll see you over on Old Man Bill's. Hopefully Gunners will get her groove back on, and we'll see you over there on Tuesday night. And maybe we can burn LW's channel down tomorrow night. We'll see what happens. KJ might put out another banger out there, so make sure you do sub her up as well. Nightbot has been dropping all the links right there, so sub everybody up. We love you guys. Thanks for being here. Tell us goodnight in the chat if you don't mind.